Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Did you finish your homework today?
Yes, Baba, I did.
So, are you ready for the story of another prophet?
I'm always ready for the stories of prophets.
Oh, is that so? Insha'Allah, I will tell you the story of Prophet Lut alayhi salam today. Bismillah. The story of Prophet Lut alayhi salam. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam left the city of Babylon along with his nephew Lut alayhi salam and Sarah. They traveled for many days in the desert. Prophet Lut alayhi salam then decided to go to the city of Sodom, which was on the western shore of the Dead Sea. The city was filled with evil people. The people of the town were very wicked and they attacked the travelers passing by. Another common evil among the people of Sodom was that the men had sex with men instead of women. They were all gay people. No one had committed such sins ever before. This unnatural sin was later known as sodomy, after the city of Sodom. The people committed this sin without any shame in front of everyone. It was during the heights of crimes and sins that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent His messenger, Prophet Lut alayhi salam, to call the people back to Him. The Prophet summoned the people to give up their indecent behavior, but they were sunk way too deep in their sins that they were deaf to the Prophet's preaching. Lut alayhi salam then warned them of Allah's punishment, but then they threatened to drive him out of the city if he kept on preaching. The Prophet was saddened when they continued their way of life. The news of the evil men in Sodom spread throughout the land. The Prophet continued with his struggle to correct their ways. Years passed and the Prophet continued with his mission. No one responded to his call except for the members of his family. And even in his family, not everyone listened to his words, and this included one of his wives. With very few people to believe in him, the Prophet was tormented both inside and outside his home. His life was a continuous torture, and he suffered greatly, but the Prophet remained patient and steadfast with his people. Years went by, but no one was willing to listen to him. They even mocked at him by saying, "If what you are saying is true, then bring Allah's punishment to us." When the people refused to listen to him even after so many years, the Prophet finally lost hope in them. And that's when Allah decided to send the angels to destroy the evil people in Sodom. The angels took human form and went to the house of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam and his wife Sarah were very old by now. He invited the angels to have food at his home, and the angels agreed. The Prophet served roasted calf to all the angels, but they didn't touch the food at all. When Ibrahim alayhi salam noticed that they were not even touching the food, he started to worry, and he started fearing them. The visitors then informed the Prophet that they were actually angels sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They told him that Sarah will get pregnant soon, and that she will give birth to a child. The Prophet and his wife were delighted to hear this news. The angels told the Prophet that they should name their son Ishaq, and that he would grow up to become a prophet as well. The angels then walked towards the city of Sodom. They reached the walls of the town in the afternoon. Then they started walking towards the river. The first person who caught the sight of the angels was Lut alayhi salam's daughter. She was sitting beside the river filling water in her jug. When she lifted her face and saw them, she was stunned. Never before had she seen such beautiful men in her whole life. She couldn't believe that such beauty even existed on earth. "Is there any place to rest?" asked one of the angels. "Stay here," she replied. She knew that if the evil men in her town saw them, they would try to harm these strangers. "Do not enter until I inform my father," she told them. She then left her jug beside the river and ran quickly to inform her father. "Oh father, there are 3 young and attractive men at the town gate. I have never seen such beautiful faces before." The prophet got worried and he ran to the town gate. The prophet did not recognize that they were actually angels, as he thought they were travelers passing by. "Where did you come from?" the prophet asked them. "And where are you going?" But they did not answer his question. Instead, they asked if they could stay at his house. Lut alayhi salam was in a dilemma now. He wanted to tell these strangers not to stay because of the evil people in the city without offending them. Yet, at the same time, he wanted to extend the hospitality shown to the guests. He tried several times to convince them, but they insisted on staying in the city. At last, he told them to wait outside the town gate till night, so that no one would see them. When it became dark, Lut alayhi salam went to the gates and escorted the strangers to his home. As the prophet planned, no one saw them. When they reached his house, the prophet's wife saw them and she slipped out of the house quietly. No one noticed her leaving the house. She ran to her people and informed them about the beautiful strangers at her house. The news of the strangers spread like wildfire. Everyone rushed to Lut alayhi salam's house to see the strangers. Lut was surprised when he saw the people coming towards his house. He wondered how they got the news of the strangers. And when he noticed that his wife was missing, he realized that it was she who informed the people. The prophet was very sad that she cheated on them. When Lut saw the mob approaching his house, he immediately shut the door, but the people kept banging at the door. He pleaded with them to leave the strangers alone. He warned them of Allah's punishment. The evil people of Sodom roared with laughter when they heard the prophet's words, and they broke down the door. Lut alayhi salam tried to defend his guests, but he stood powerless against these violent people. He wished that he had the power to save his guests. When the angels saw the prophet in a state of despair, they revealed themselves to the prophet. "Do not be frightened. We are the angels, and these people will not harm you," they said to the prophet. When the mob heard the angels, they fled from the prophet's house terrified. They abused the prophet and ran to their homes. The angels then asked Lut alayhi salam to leave the town before sunrise. They asked him to take with him everyone, except the wife who cheated on him. Lut alayhi salam left the city at dawn, like the angels asked him to. He took with him 2 of his daughters, who were the only believers. When the morning came, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started the destruction of the most corrupted city on earth. At first, He sent the earthquake that rocked the city down. It was as if a mighty power had lifted the entire city and flung it down in one jolt. And then He sent a storm of stones that rained on the city. Everyone in the city was destroyed, including the prophet's wife. The town of Sodom was erased from the face of the earth, and no one survived except the prophet and his daughters. Lut alayhi salam then went to see his uncle Ibrahim alayhi salam. He visited them and told him what happened in Sodom. But Ibrahim alayhi salam already knew what had happened, as the angels had informed him beforehand. Lut alayhi salam continued to invite people to Allah, and so did Ibrahim alayhi salam for a long time.
That was such an amazing story, Baba.
MashaAllah, I am glad you liked it.
I have a doubt.
Go on, ask me.
How was Prophet Ibrahim and Lut related?
Prophet Lut alayhi salam was the nephew of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam.
Oh, now I remember. Thank you.
All right, now are you ready for the questions?
I'm ready.
Okay, now tell me which of these were the sins committed by the people living in Sodom? Option A, sodomy. Option B, stealing. Option C, idol worshipping.
It was sodomy.
That's the right answer. Very good. Now for the next question. Who were the three strangers to visit the land of Sodom?
They were the angels.
MashaAllah. That was so quick. All right, now for the next question. When the angels arrived at the town gate, who was the first to see them?
The angels were first seen by the prophet's daughter.
That's right again. Why didn't the prophet invite the strangers to his house right away? Why did he ask them to wait till night?
The strangers were very beautiful, and the prophet knew that if the evil people of Sodom saw them, they would hurt these strangers. That's why he asked them to stay there till night.
MashaAllah, that's impressive, Amir. That's brilliant, my son. Now that's all for today. I will tell you the story of another prophet tomorrow.